There is a cold truth that most people don't want to face. Most men live their entire lives in the shadow of what they could have been. They wake up every day knowing something is missing, but they don't know what it is. And even if they do, they are too scared to face it, so they distract themselves with noise, with entertainment, with excuses, with comfort. They cling to what is average because average feels safe. Average doesn't challenge them. Average lets them hide behind what society says is good enough, but deep down they know average is not enough. You know it too. You feel it when you look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this it? You feel it when you scroll through social media and compare yourself to people who seem to be crushing it and wonder why not me. You feel it in the pit of your stomach when you remember the dreams you had as a kid and realize you haven't moved any closer to them. The painful truth is that most men stay average because they never decide not to. They never decide to rise above the noise. They never decide to fight the resistance that lives inside their own mind. They never decide to suffer for something greater than comfort. And the tragedy is that this isn't because they're not capable. It's because they've been conditioned to believe that greatness is reserved for someone else. And the worst conditioning doesn't come from society. It comes from yourself. Self-image is destiny. This isn't just a nice phrase, it's a psychological fact, Maxwell Maltman. Psycho-cybernetics explains that your brain works like a self-guided missile. Once you set an identity, your subconscious mind will act to fulfill that idea, no matter what you consciously want. So if you've spent your life believing you're average, your brain will act to keep you average. Even if you average, even if you envy, you want more, even if you dream bigger. Your subconscious will sabotage you until your actions match the image you've created. This is why most men never escape mediocrity, not because they aren't intelligent or talented or capable, but because they never rewrite the story of who they are. They let the story they've absorbed from others write their lives for them. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls this a fixed mindset. It's the belief that your abilities, your talents, your intelligence are fixed and unchangeable. So if you fail, it means you're not good enough. If you try and don't succeed, it confirms your worst. Fear. So what do most people do? They stop trying, they stop risking, they settle, and then they look for distractions to numb the pain of not becoming who they were meant to be. This is why we are a generation addicted to dopamine, to likes, to validation, to short-term pleasure, because we've never learned to embrace delayed gratification. In the book, The Marshmallow Test by Walter Mischel, he shows that the ability to delay gratification is one of the biggest predictors of success in life. But nobody teaches you how to build that. Nobody teaches you how to be mentally tough. Nobody tells you that your mind will fight you when you try to level up. Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art calls it resistance. It's the invisible force that rises when you want to write a book or start a business or change your life. It's fear, it's self-doubt, it's procrastination, it's every lie your brain tells you to keep you average, and most men lose to it because they think resistance is on. They're not meant to do it, but resistance is actually proof that you're going in the right direction because average is easy and growth is painful. Jordan Peterson says the pathway to meaning is through voluntary suffering. That means choosing discomfort on purpose because that's the only place where you'll find transformation. You don't become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by walking into it willingly with a purpose. And the more you do that, the more you separate yourself from the average man, because here's another hard truth. The average man is addicted to comfort, and comfort is the enemy of greatness. So if you want to escape the trap, you must rewire your entire approach to life. You must create a new identity. You must kill the version of you that was designed to be average and rebuild the man who was designed to conquer. That's not a poetic line. It's a poetic line. It's a psychological process. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity. It means you are not fixed. You are not stuck. You can literally rewire the circuits of your identity, your habits, your focus, your discipline. But it takes effort, it takes intention, and it takes time. James Clear in Atomic Habits says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you train when you don't feel like it, every time you choose growth over comfort, you are changing not just what you do, but who you are. But you have to be ruthless because the world is full of average men pretending they're fine, wasting years stuck in jobs. They hate relationships that drain them, routines that kill their spirit. They never confront the inner war. They never ask what they were put here to do. And that is the real tragedy, because the truth is this: you were born to be average. There is something inside you that knows this. There is something inside you that burns when you see greatness. That ache is not envy. It's a reminder of who you were before the world told you to be small. So now the question is not, can you rise above average? The question is, will you? Will you sacrifice your excuses for your evolution? Will you suffer now so you can thrive later? Will you choose discipline over dopamine? Will you fight your own weakness every single day until it breaks? Because if you do, you will not be average. You will not be normal. You will not be forgotten. You will become the kind of man who was once rare and now is necessary. You will become dangerous to your doubts. You will become the man others look at and say, how did he do it? And the answer will be simple. He decided now. Here are the 5 truths behind why most men stay average and escape one. Comfort kills potential. Comfort is seductive. It's warm. It's easy. It's familiar. But it is the single greatest trap that keeps men average. When you choose comfort repeatedly, you train your brain to avoid challenge. You tell your body, your mind, and your soul, I don't need to grow. I don't need to fight. I don't need to become more. And that becomes your identity without you even realizing it. Comfort is not just a lifestyle, it's a psychological cage. It creates mental atrophy, just like muscles shrink when you stop using them. Your ambition, your drive, your hunger begins to shrink when you stop challenging yourself. There's a principle in psychology called homeostasis. Your brain is designed to keep things in balance. So the moment you step out of your comfort zone, that system tries to pull you back to a normal. It's not personal, it's just biology. But here's the key: if you obey it too many times, you lose your edge. And when a man loses his edge, he becomes forgettable. Your potential lives outside your comfort zone. But here's the paradox: you'll never find it unless you're willing to suffer. Think about this. A lion becomes powerful not in the zoo where everything is handed to him. The wild, where every day is life or death. The average guy chooses the zoo. He wants security, safety, comfort, but in doing so, he loses the wildness that made him a king. Your dreams, your purpose, your strength will never show up in the comfort zone. They are waiting for you in discomfort in the early mornings, when nobody sees you in the gym, when your body screams to stop in the mass shed, when your naps wants to stay asleep in the study session, when your friends are wasting time in the cold showers, in the long fasts, in the hard conversation. That's where you meet your potential. Comfort says, I take it easy, you deserve it. But your potential says, I need war to become something. David Goggins talks about this all the time. He says, if you live soft, you will die soft. Your greatness is not something you can unlock without struggle. That's why 99% never do it. They choose feelings over values. They choose the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance always leads to a small life. Comfort will never give you purpose. It will never give you pride. It will never give you the fire that makes life worth living. So if you want to rise above average, you must become a man who chooses discomfort intentionally. You must be willing to go to war with yourself, because every great man who ever lived, from the Sahaba to the scholars to the prophets, they embraced difficulty, they faced storms, and they came out with legacy. You cannot pray for greatness and run from the pain that produces it. You cannot wish for excellence and live like it's optional. So here's the truth. If you're comfortable too often, you're not growing. If you're not challenged, you're not changing. You're not changing, you're dying slowly. Comfort is the slow poison that kills your potential with a smile on its face. Reject it, run from it, and instead pursue the path that burns, but builds, bleeds, but blesses, destroys the weak parts of you, so the strong parts can rise. That's how you escape average, by doing what average men are too scared to do too. 2, identity drives behavior. This is one of the most powerful psychological principles that explains why most men stay average and why some men break out and become extraordinary. Your behavior is not random. It's not just about habits or willpower. It's about who you believe. You are your identity. It's the invisible script that runs your entire life. It's the answer to the question you never asked directly. Who am I? And whatever answer you live with, your actions will follow it with military discipline. Psychologist Maxwell Maltz explained this in Psycho-Cybernetics. He found that your brain works like a goal-seeking machine, and that machine is programmed by your self-image. So if you believe I'm just lazy, even when you try to be productive, your subconscious will sabotage you because lazy people don't follow through if you believe. I'm just not a disciplined guy. Even if you try to wake up early, your brain will work to get you back into bed because your actions will always try to stay aligned with your identity, even if that identity is killing you. This is why some people can't stick to the gym. It's not because they don't have time. It's because deep down they don't see themselves as someone who trains, someone who values their health. They might say they want change, but their identity says, I'm not that type of guy. And that identity always wins. James Clear in Atomic Habits puts it perfectly. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. But the reverse is also true. Every action you don't take is a vote against that person. If you say you want to be a high performer, but you keep hitting snooze, your identity becomes the guy who talks big, but acts small. Here's the hard truth. Most guys stay average because they've accepted an average identity. They look at their past, their failures, their habits, their trauma, and they say, this is just who I am, but that's a lie. Your identity is not fixed. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. It means you can literally reprogram how your brain thinks, how it acts, what it believes is possible. But it starts with intention. You must choose the identity of the man you want to become, then behave like that man until it becomes real, even if it feels fake at first, even if it feels like you're pretending. That's how every transformation begins, with behavior that feels unfamiliar. Muhammad Ali used to say, I am the greatest, before he ever became it. He spoke it into his identity and then backed it with action. So the real work is not just forcing yourself to behave differently. It's becoming the kind of man who naturally behaves differently. Because when your identity is strong, your behavior becomes automatic. You don't try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You don't try to pray. You are the type of prey. You are the type of man who guards his solid like a warrior. You don't try to be confident. You are confident because you know who you are. And here's the twist. Islam already gave you the most powerful identity possible. Abdullah, a slave of Allah. That's not weakness. That's your superpower. Because when you anchor your identity to choose something bigger than yourself, you rise above every fear, every doubt, every excuse. You were not made to be average. You were made to lead, to grow, to rise. But until you kill the false identity of the average man, you will keep acting like him. So if you want to escape mediocrity, start with identity. Redefine who you are and the rest will follow, because your identity always drives your behavior. 3. Resistance is the enemy within. There is a war happening every single day, not out there, inside you. And the enemy is not your parents, not society, not your boss, not the system. It's something far more subtle and far more dangerous. It's resistance. Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art names it perfect. Resistance is the invisible force that rises the moment you decide to do something meaningful. It's fear, it's procrastination, it's laziness, it's distraction, it's doubt. It's the voice that says, not now. Who are you to do this? Oh, you will fail. Just rest a little more. Resistance is not just in your head. It's in your body, in your habits, in your environment, in your phone. It's anything that pulls you away from your higher self. It's anything that tries to convince you to delay, to avoid, to postpone growth. And here's the most dangerous part. Resistance feels like truth. It feels like logic. It feels like wisdom. It sounds like a friend who's protecting you. But it is the voice of death dressed as comfort. Every time you try to rise, it appears. Every time you decide to finally start your mission, it whispers doubt. Every time you set the alarm to wake up for Fajr or training, it convinces you to sleep in. Resistance is like a virus. It doesn't want to destroy you with one big blow. It wants to slowly infect your will, your ambition, your energy, until you become a passive version of your men never recognize it. They think it's just how I feel. They say things like, I'm not motivated. I'm just tired. I'll start tomorrow. But that's the voice of resistance feeding you lies. Because motivation is not the problem. Courage is resistance, a test. It's all I'm showing you. Do you really want it? Or are you just talking? Do you actually want change? Or do you just want to feel good about the idea of change? Every great man in history felt resistance. The prophets felt it. The scholars felt it. The warriors felt it. But they did one thing that separates them from the average man. They moved anyway. They heard the fear and acted anyway. They felt the doubt and pushed anyway. They were tired, but they stood up. Again, because they knew that resistance is not something you defeat once. It's something you fight every single day. And here's the secret. Resistance doesn't grow stronger. you do every time you show up, every time you take action, despite fear, every time you say a no to comfort and yes to discipline. You are becoming a weapon. You are sharpening your soul. You are proving to Allah that you are serious, and eventually the voice of resistance becomes weaker, not because it disappears, but because you stop listening. Most guys never reach this stage because they give up at the first sign of struggle. They think resistance means this isn't for me, when in reality it means this is exactly what you need to do. So if you feel fear, if you feel doubt, if you feel the urge to quit good, that means you're close, because resistance never shows up when you're wasting your life. It only shows up when you're walking toward greatness. Recognize and name it. Face it. Resistance is the enemy within, and the only way to kill it is to keep moving forward, no matter how you feel full. Discipline is freedom. It sounds like a contradiction because most people hear of discipline and they think of restriction, they think of punishment, of suffering, of saying no to things they enjoy. But this is exactly why most men stay stuck. They never realize that discipline is not prison. Discipline is power. Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL commander, wrote a whole book on this truth, and he named it clearly: a discipline equals freedom. Because the man who is a slave to his emotions, to his desires, to his laziness, to his urges, to his phone, that man is not free. He's chained by impulse, by comfort, by weakness. You think the man who eats whatever he wants, sleeps whenever he wants, scrolls endlessly through his feed, does what feels good, every time is free. You must walk through discomfort. You must say no to what your nerves wants right now so you can say yes to what your soul wants forever. That's delayed gratification. It's the understanding that the greatest things in life don't come instantly. They take sacrifice. They take patience. They take sabor. Sabor isn't passive waiting. Sabor is active. Self-control is being able to hold the line when everything in you wants to give in. You want to be financially free. You have to delay the shopping, the flashy lifestyle, and invest in your future. You want a strong body. You have to delay the comfort of junk food and laziness and train. When it's inconvenient, you want knowledge. You have to delay entertainment and dive into books, lectures, and deep work. You want to build your team. You have to delay the temptations of this world and remember that eternity is worth more than temporary highs. This is why average men stay stuck. They live for. Now they chase fast food, fast dopamine, fast pleasure, and they die with regret. But the man who lives for something greater, he's dangerous. Because he has vision he can endure now for the sake of later. He knows that what he plants in hardship, he will harvest in greatness. This is why delayed gratification builds destiny, because the man who can delay can build anything. He's not a slave to emotion. He's not controlled by desire. He can stay focused while others fall off. And here's the best part: every time you delay your naps, every time you walk away from ease for the sake of growth, you're not just changing your results, you're rewriting who you are. You are building character. You are becoming the kind of man Allah love, and the rewards will follow you in this life and chase you in the next. Because China isn't for those who lived easy. It's for those who live deliberately. So if you want to escape the average life, learn to master the skill. Because the one who can delay gratification can master his fate, shape his future, and build a Mendes legacy that will echo for generations. Discipline is the engine. Delayed gratification is the fuel. And destiny is the reward. You were not created to be average. You were not brought into this world just to eat, sleep, scroll, and repeat. You were not chosen by Allah to live like a background character in your own story. You were created for something greater. There is fire in your soul. There is power in your potential. There is a mission buried beneath your laziness, your excuses, your fears. And it is calling you. It has always been calling you. But most men never answer, because answering that call demands. One thing above all change, and change is not easy. It is war. A war against comfort, a war against weakness, a war against your lower self. But it is a war worth fighting, because what waits on the other side of that battle is not just success, it's not just wealth or muscles or status, it's freedom. It's freedom, it's dignity, it's peace. The kind of peace that comes when you know I'm doing what I was created to do. I'm walking the path Allah designed for me. I'm becoming the man I was meant to be. Most guys stay average, not because they're not capable, But because they don't believe they're worthy of more, they've accepted a story written by failure, a script handed to them by society, a mindset shaped by disappointment. But you don't have to accept that. You can change the story, you can rewrite the script, you can break the pattern. But it starts by confronting the truths we laid out. Comfort kills potential, so you choose pain now to avoid regret later. Identity drives behavior, so you upgrade who you believe you are before you upgrade. What you do, resistance is the enemy within, so you fight the battle no one sees until you earn the victory. Everyone notices discipline is freedom, so you build the habits that build the man you dream of becoming. Delayed gratification builds destiny. So you train your soul to trade the moment for the mission, because this world is not waiting for you. No one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your parents, not your parents, not your school, not your phone full of fake escape. It's on you, and if you choose this path, you won't just rise above average, you'll become rare, you'll become dangerous. You'll become the kind of man that changes families, that shifts generations, that builds legacies, not because of talent, but because of decisions. You decided to stop being soft, decided to stop giving in, you decided to rise even when you failed 1,000 times before you decided enough. This is where it ends. This is where the old me dies and the real me is born by the will of Allah, by the power of your discipline and by the fire of your faith. You rise, you fight, you build. And one day you will look back at this moment and smile, because this was the day you stopped being average and started becoming unforgettable. Bismillah, let me know if you'd like to add a Quranic or hadith reference to this outro or any audio visual suggestions for production.